The Human Experience Project is a conversation between two people navigating life in real time. This channel is where we explore the questions, challenges, discoveries, and uncertainties that come with being human. From business, identity, purpose, relationships, and personal growth to the conversations we disagree on, the experiments that we're running, and the lessons that we're learning along the way. Nothing here is scripted or polished into a formula. We don't have all the answers. We're simply willing to ask the questions. If you've ever wondered what happens when you stop chasing, redefine success, question old beliefs, or choose curiosity over certainty, pull up a chair and join the conversation. We're two perspectives with one unfolding journey. Welcome to the Human Experience Project. Hi, welcome to the Human Experience Project. I'm Beth.
And I'm John. And today we're here to talk about one question.
What happens when you stop chasing? Well, first, let's define chasing.
I think that's a good place to start. I define chasing as anything I'm not doing in alignment. So if it's because there is pursuit of goals, there is pursuit of growth, there is pursuit of many things, comforts, etc. But the definition for me was simple. Am I doing this out of alignment, or am I doing this for self-worth in someone else's eyes?
Right. Yeah.
So I need to look like this in order to be accepted, or I need to have this kind of response in order for me to feel important. I need to be this in order to have this. So I found myself being the loudest guy in the room, having to control a conversation, being concerned with what other people think, what other people are feeling, everything that had nothing to do with anything I could control. This need for validation, need for approval drove in almost every area. And I think most of it, when I reflect back on it, came from someone else. It came from other things, and certainly not attention to what I wanted or what I was looking for. So it came down to one question for me. Am I doing this for attention, or am I doing this for alignment? So I guess the question is, would you do this still if no one's watching? And if the answer is yes, then you're doing it more than likely out of alignment. If the answer is no, you already know, because you don't do it when no one's watching.
Right.
You do it for the applause. You do it for the acknowledgement. You do it for the whatever the heck that is.
Yeah.
And we associate ourselves with people, things, ideas, even down to the way we dress, the way we act, the way we do. We're a lot of doing and very little being.
Right. I know for me, it was, I had a very strong book of rules in my head. A lot of shoulds. I should do this, I should do that, I shouldn't do that, I shouldn't do this. And I had all these expectations that I thought were my own, and when I started examining them, they really weren't what I wanted out of life. And that's when I really decided I need to change that, because I felt like I'm in my last season, and I've been doing all these things my entire life to prove myself to someone who knows who, and I didn't necessarily like the way things were going. So it's time to make a change. And that was hard in the beginning, because you do lose relationships and you feel kind of out of body. You feel different. It's a little scary at first, because you have to retrain your nervous system to not react the same old ways too.
Right. One of the first things I noticed is that I was alone. And from the guy that always had to be with somebody, had to be doing something, I couldn't sit still. And I wasn't exactly sure why. I just figured that's just who I am. That's just how I am. You know, I didn't really put the two together. I didn't feel that I was the one responsible for these things. That's what I choose. But what I found after putting some attention to it is that these were defaults. These were go-tos from survival patterns, from past, from things that were handed to me, from groups I wanted to be involved with, from relationships or people I wanted to associate with, for things that I saw, things that I heard, things that I thought would be cool if I possessed. And those things became louder than what I really was, who I was. I became more and more disconnected with myself. So as I put attention to these things and I realized there was a plethora, I started with the very first, and that generally ended me up in a space all by myself on a Friday night, Saturday, places or times that I would normally be engaged with someone else, that I was in silence by myself. And then there comes that urge to move, to go do, go be, go. And that alone can leave you unstable. Why did I do this? Did I just ruin this relationship? Did I just isolate myself? Did I hurt myself? Did I put myself in a bad position? Did I just do this again? Or did I just do it again but different? So I noticed the first thing was not only being alone, was the instability of being with myself. What am I doing, and who the hell am I anyway? Because now my identity is not what I always was.
Exactly.
And everyone's been telling me you're different, and they're feeling threatened by it, completely threatened by it, angry about it. Guys are brutal. We don't ask, hey, how you feeling today? We say, what the hell's wrong with you, man? What got into you? What's your problem? You're not giving me what I need, man. What's up with you?
Yeah, definitely. I noticed some of the same things. I was alone a lot, which was good in a way because it gave me time to think and reflect on what I really want, what I do want, because once you have that alone time and the quiet time, and you have time to figure out how to replace that. What is it that you do want in your life if you don't want all these other things? And I have always been a busy person. I just jump up and, oh, this needs to be done, that needs to be done. I gotta jump up and do it right now. And so
the taskmaster.
That's still a struggle.
Gotta stay busy. If I'm not busy, I'm not accomplishing anything.
That's right. I have to accomplish something.
Yes, all day long.
Yes.
Yes, 3 things at once. Endless list.
And so that was a huge change, and I felt totally unproductive and like I should be judged. And
No, you were already doing it.
yeah,
And that's why it was landing so hard.
yeah, I was already judging myself.
Self-critical because I'm not busy.
Yeah.
But I think what this is we become self-critical in that way because we haven't put attention to ourselves. We don't know, most of us don't know what we really, really want. We know what we need. We
Right.
need money, we need approval, we need we need this, that, and the other to be accepted. My work, I can't change because my work won't let me. My friends, they will abandon me if I start thinking different. If I do this, I'm not going to be accepted in this, and I can't do that because my family will disown me. And if I do get disowned, I'll be all alone and eaten by a saber-toothed tiger.
Yes.
And that could be so far from the truth, but it feels so intense at the moment. And the body reacts before the mind does. So your body reacts, you make up a story that goes with it, and next thing you know, you're negotiating with something you wanted to change, and it's just motivation, and motivation doesn't get you through the day. It doesn't put you through the door.
It doesn't ever last.
No.
It's not long lasting.
It
But,
doesn't last.
So what are the things that stood out to you the most other than being alone? What changes came about?
Well, there became a huge change of everyone doing these things to me, life being unfair or life being this, and all of a sudden life wasn't happening to me anymore, life was happening for me. And this was unnerving even more because there was self-accountability for how I felt, not the reaction from not getting the protein I wanted from that person and they didn't acknowledge me, they didn't hear me, I had to explain myself. He thinks I'm this, she thinks I'm that, he thinks I feel like this. There's so much that goes on with that there's very little time spent in building yourself instead of trying to patch people together to be able to exist in spaces.
Right.
So I found that self-accountability was even more brutal. And then the immediate thing that comes after that is really unnerving because you realize that you're built on a lot of things that aren't you. And you don't know where to start. You don't know where to...
Who you are.
And all of a sudden, you don't have an identity. And anytime you change to something else, you're not very good at it. So You can look clumsy, you can look stupid, you can look all these things. All the things you were fearing people thought, you're doing and demonstrating in real time.
Yes.
And if you're not in a place where you're good with yourself, this can be really hard and really spooky. And then we're entering a space where we're all trying to avoid. This is where this comes from. You're going inside. And when you
Yeah.
go inside, that's darkness so great it'll scare an angel. And that angel is you. This is where your thoughts come, where your feelings are, where the things you don't talk about, the things you don't look at, the things you ignore. These are where I spent my time. And all of a sudden there became a new person in my life, and that was the observer. I was already the participant, and like I always like to describe myself unconsciously as this chimp's a pimp. I thought I was completely in control of what I was doing, and yes, I made decisions and moved, but I did not know where the decision came from in the first place. It's just
Right.
who I am.
Automatic,
That's just how I am. That's how I roll. And some of the people that I associated with vibrated the same way. So I'm in this little pack of unconsciousness that wasn't serving me. But I didn't know how to change out of it because I didn't want to lose my identity at the same time. That identity built safety. That need to control the room got me through a season. The need to expand the room for someone else's comfort got me through something. All the little things that I was searching for and doing were survival patterns that weren't necessarily with it. So I placed what I like to call the watchman on the wall, the observer of now, not everything outside of me, not the person saying this thing I'm hearing, these things I'm feeling. Now I'm putting attention to the emotions that hit and not where they came from. So this just landed. Instead of owning it and saying, I'm angry, I could say, whoa, that just affected me. What does that mean? And when you start observing this, you're no longer looking for some place to blame it.
Right.
You're owning it. And before you can own it and say, I am that, you can observe it go through you and create that space and then realize that's what it is. I always say, the obstacle is the way. So putting myself as an observer of these things was really the next part that became very, very difficult for me because it's self-accountability. There's no one else to blame anymore. And now the isolation gets even greater. And there becomes this feeling initially of I'm this or I'm that, and that's another trap. So now
Or might be making a mistake.
Oh yeah, not only am I making a mistake, have I made a mistake? Am I ever going to be able to not do that? Am I ever going to be? So there becomes those unstable moments where the body still reacts before you do, and sometimes you're picking up the phone, calling the old person, or doing the old habit, or seeking the old self-medicated whatever it is to get you through those moments that leave you unstable. So there was a negotiating going on that needed an observer. And once you start observing those thoughts, feelings, and emotions, you start giving yourself a little bit of understanding.
Right.
I mean, going inside was kind of spooky, you know, and there was no really rule book. And I don't like rules anyway. I don't prescribe to a book theory that you need to be like this. That's what this is. That's bullshit. I'm sorry. There are truths. Your truth, her truth, their truth. We all share the same truth. So there's just perspectives of the truth, and truths come and go like love does. It comes and goes, and it changes all the time. So it needed to put some awareness to the inside. That was probably one of the biggest things that I noticed.
And I
Yeah,
think,
way harder than the other people.
Yeah. Well,
I'm brutal.
You are.
Ugh.
That and the fear that everybody is judging you and thinking this or thinking that makes you less stable in yourself. And
Now we have a need to explain ourselves.
Yes.
I said this, but this is what I meant. I
Or-
need you to know.
Yes. Or they're like, why are you doing this? And what made you decide to do that? And have you lost your mind? And so then you start kind of questioning yourself, because it is, anytime you change anything, it's a little bit shaky at first. You're doing something new, and so you're questioning yourself, and that makes it interesting.
Yes, because whenever you go to do something new, be ready to be considered a fool.
Yes.
Because it's not going to look really good anytime. It's like the first time you rode a bike. Look, Mom, no hands. Look, Mom, no teeth. You know.
But then I realized that not everybody is always thinking about me. And
Imagine that.
if they were, they probably thought a lot worse than I ever had really done. And then they dismissed it and weren't thinking about it anyway. That I'm more worried about it than anyone.
And this is a pursuit that most people don't think of. I didn't think of this at all. But my need for you to understand me is chasing. She needs to understand that this is what I'm going through and this is who I am, and she needs to do this and she needs to do that because I'm like this and I'm like that. And the need to explain yourself. Are you kidding me? Absolutely insanity. If you really need to explain yourself, say what you got to say. And if you're not sure, clarify it and be done.
Yeah.
It's not in your control to concern yourself with, but I found myself very much in need of what I thought you need to know. So therefore I spend a lot of energy. I think all this chasing, all this validation, all this approval, all this stuff is a tax. It's a tax on me. It costs energy to do every single thing. And if I spend all my time outsourcing this, I'm outsourcing everything I own. And I only feel good when they give me what I'm asking for, what I need. Once again, not out of alignment, out of need. I need that to
Right.
feel worth.
Right. Like someone else's judgment of you, a stranger's judgment of you either gives you value or devalues you. How crazy is it to live under those rules?
Change is hard enough.
Yeah.
So putting attention to yourself is the beginning. Finding alignment is important, and that comes from no longer outsourcing all your opinions and all your ideas to other people to validate whether it's good or not. Believe it or not, sharing an idea, hey, I'm thinking about doing this, is a need. It's
Yeah.
chasing. You're chasing approval, chasing validation. If you spent time with yourself and you've turned off the noise and you start coming up with, hey, I keep thinking about this. This is who I wanted to do this since I was, whatever the case is, and you find that to be in alignment, you don't need approval from your past.
Right.
You're not taking them with you anyway. So one of the hardest things I noticed for me was going here, dragging all this shit with me. The people in my past don't have any, most of them don't exist in my future. So why am I having such a hard time? Because they give me validation. They let me feel like
They're what I'm used to. Yeah.
familiar,
Familiar.
familiar,
Exactly.
familiar again.
Even when it's terrible, if it's familiar, it's comfortable. So, yeah.
Absolutely. So what are you working on now? Where are you at with all this?
Well, I haven't totally accomplished, as you know, my ability to not jump up and do. I really am focusing on enjoying every day, taking time to
Your present?
My present, yes, to enjoy my
Your gift.
present and not always be looking to earn my validation, be accomplished in every minute of every day, and also evaluate the things that I do. Is this something that I'm doing because I've always done it, or is it something that I'm doing because I want to do it? And so I try to question everything now and make sure that I'm not doing something just out of habit because I've done it and I think I should do it, and people will notice if I don't do it because I've always done it, and they'll think, what's wrong with her? So
Right.
it's an ongoing process for sure.
Well, I hope it never ends because that's what growth is. But
Yes.
I do understand we like to be there. I think so many times and I know our society trains us for the end result. So we're judged by what the end game is. He won the championship. Anything in between is nothing because that's what we're taught. But the real transformation is the reward. It's not the end, because at the end you get there and then realize that you have a lot more to do.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more to become. I find now I'm more of a collector of souvenirs than I am of achievement. Souvenirs of light I can capture. Metaphorically, I'd use it as a kid running around with fireflies. So the more fireflies I put in there, the brighter this jar gets. And you get those fireflies through experiences of that most people avoid. That obstacle is the way. Through that obstacle is another firefly to put in the jar. And that's really kind of metaphorically where I'm at with it when I face a new challenge. It's not always easy.
No. And you like it brutal.
Well, I got to a point with self-accountability that I realized that I'm not, no one's coming to save me, and there's no one outside of me that's going to give me what I need. There's no one that can. And I think we find our life's only significant after I achieve this goal. It's only significant if she recognizes me as this, if they recognize me as that, if I have this, if I wear that, if I drive this, if I live like this. But you make every moment significant when you're present.
Right.
And if you know the man you want to be or the person that you want to be, and it's clear to you out of alignment, that's where it is. You live as if you are that person, because you are. And then every action I do today is to make a better version of that. You don't suffer failure as much. You can reward yourself. You can have appreciation, which brings me to probably the most painful part of the whole thing, and that's compassion. Because as you start disconnecting these people, you disconnect these ideas, you become lonely, you become isolated. And it started by choice, and now it feels like I don't know what I'm going to ever do. Am I ever going to be able to have a relationship again? Am I ever going to be able to accomplish what this is? And there becomes this brutal, almost so frustrating. It hurts, it's scary. Almost enough to throw in the towel and go back.
Yeah.
And that's extremely difficult. Having that compassion, drawing that line where things aren't so great and aren't so small. You know, I don't know if you experienced anything quite the same, or I mean, I know we all kind of go through that in this journey, but what sticks out for you?
I think what sticks out is that I was very much focused on the end, and I realized that you never reach the end. If you're lucky, you don't reach the end. So like with our business, I felt like I had to be busy, you know, all the time accomplishing stuff, because if I didn't do everything every day, we would never get there. Well, there never really arrives. You're always going to be moving forward. So I really had to take the time, have patience, and pace myself to do the most valuable tasks, but not feel like I had to be busy all the time just to fill the time and accomplish.
And for those watching, we did start a business about the same time that we started our YouTube journey and our work together as this. We also started a business as well, and kind of abandoned the things that had kept us surviving for quite a while, which put us in an uncomfortable place. So now we're questioning relationships without questioning them, ourselves without questioning them, on top of doing the work that we're describing today, letting go of things, stop chasing validation and the things that aren't in alignment. And that brought up this channel. And,
all the
whole
questions
thing
that we've been asking ourselves. And this is an ongoing experience, but a lot of it is very fresh. You know, in the last couple years, we've experienced a lot of these things that we're going to be talking about firsthand.
Yeah, firsthand.
Yes.
Right, directly from right here.
Yes.
So one of the things is, this is our truth, not necessarily how you need to do it.
Right.
Just
ask the question.
But how we did it, and good questions to ask yourself and reflections as you go, to know that you're not crazy for feeling what you're feeling, and it is going to feel not comfortable,
hard,
and it is, but nothing good comes out of comfort. What I mean is, you don't grow in comfort. So So if you're not growing, you're dying by definition. So you're not going to be able to become something new maintaining all the things that you are doing and are. So and most people don't look for change until something stings bad enough to move them.
Right.
And once they do sting bad enough, it's having clarity of what to let go of, what not to. So this is what brought us upon this first question of what it feels like when you do stop chasing, because
Yeah.
I do believe that's the very first step in alignment.
Yeah, and you know, when I look back on why this is possible and why I made the decision, is I felt like I'd been doing the same thing most of my life. Some changes, but the same patterns, and they just weren't working for me. And I wanted something different. Well, to get something different, you have to do something different. So there's
Well,
no time like the present.
There's no time like the present. And
Yes.
if you're waiting for clarity, it's just never going to
It's
come.
never coming.
Because clarity is given to you after repetition. You've never been through the fog. So once you go through the fog, you don't know what's on the other side. Your recording device is going to tell you all the dangers, all the things, and all the reasons why you shouldn't. Your body doesn't listen to what you want. It listens to what's familiar. It's going to
Yeah.
respond before your brain even gets a chance to assign a story to it. So there's a whole lot there.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a whole lot there.
So what's the hardest thing that you still deal with today in respect to not chasing?
The hardest thing for me right now is building a business, staying aligned, and not chasing the result. There's work that has to be done. There's reps that have to be made, and if you're going to do something new, be ready to be considered foolish. So there's a lot of foolish maneuvers that happen as you learn what not to do as fast as you learn what to do, and what to repeat and what not to repeat, what was good, what's not good, and not waiting for clarity at the same time. Because we could read a book, we could stop and watch 18 videos and take a course on this or that or the other, and all we're getting is a perspective of someone else's truth.
Right.
So it comes from doing the time. It comes from having, from a knowing and not believing. You have to believe first, and then there becomes a sense of knowing with alignment, that I know when I do this, this is what happens. This is who I've always been. These patterns that I've repeated, they did serve me before. That did help me get through that season. That did help me get through school. That did help me in my first relationship. This did help me then. These are the very things now that are suffocating my growth.
Right.
So identifying that I don't have to be that, and every person in my life does not have to be a part of this journey. I think the hardest part of it is letting the identity go, not the people. Letting go of who I was and not sure exactly what that looks like going forward. But having enough compassion for myself to know I trust me, I love me, and I'm going to do that work. And even if it means a little moment of discomfort today.
Or a lot of moments of discomfort.
Well, there is that too. That's why we breathe, we pause,
Yes.
we choose. You know.
Definitely. So, after all this, what do you think you still don't know?
I don't know what I don't know, but I know there's stuff I don't know. I think that's the best question to leave it with.
Yeah.
Is what is it that I don't know? And more importantly, am I prepared to go through that door when it gets there? And I think the reason this is such a good question, and the one we wanted to leave with, is because there's a story about a black door, you know, and just to make a short work of it, there's a war and they capture a soldier, and the general walks over to the soldier and says, "You can go through the black door, or we can kill you right now. You know, be shot or walk through the black door." And that's a good question for all of us, because most of the time fear of something else is greater than the result. So if you just kill me, then I'm dead, because my imagination, which I believe we all suffer lack of attention and
Fear of the
starvation
unknown.
and a starvation of imagination. We fear attention and a lack of and a starvation of imagination, not a lack of. we can imagine that door being 100 times worse than that. They might just tar me, feather me, put molasses all over me, and have me eaten by fire ants while they got a pole up my butt. I don't know. But either way, that imagination could be greater. That door is the answer. And so the obstacle is the way. So I believe I don't know. And I think every day brings a little bit more clarity. I look a little less clanky every day, a little less clanky every time. And as soon as I start getting comfortable, there's going to be a new obstacle in the way.
Or we'll create it.
Or we will create it. That's for sure.
I think we're getting more comfortable with being uncomfortable. I think, at first it was really hard, and it's getting easier. Not easy, but easier.
Well, I think a self journey is difficult.
Yeah.
And I think companionship makes things easier, but it also makes alignment harder because we do go to the same places, but we get there differently.
Yes.
And we feel the same, but we articulate it differently. So I'm a little more brutal, straight up, hard. There's no room for that shit in 2026 when it comes to my nervous system for me.
And I like it all pretty tied up with a bow.
Yeah,
Nice,
so we
calm.
like, yeah, and I always refer to it as you want to put a little baby powder on it and rub it all really nice, and that even though it's the same thing.
Right. Yes.
So
think about it.
and thank you for joining us.
Yes.
And
Enjoy the journey.
enjoy the journey. Make it so.
Yes.
Till next week. Hey, before we wrap up, I just want to say thank you for being here. This channel's a little different than what we've done before. The Human Experience Project isn't about having all the answers. It's about exploring the questions, the things we're learning, the things we struggle with, the things that are changing our minds in real time, the things we're still trying to understand. And like many of you, we're building businesses, navigating relationships, letting go of old beliefs and discovering new ones, and trying to make sense of what it means to live a meaningful life. We're not approaching this as experts, we're approaching it as participants. And we're sharing that journey as honestly as we can. So if something in this conversation's resonated with you, we'd love to have you join us. Subscribe, come along for the journey, because this isn't a finished story, it's an unfolding one. And we're just getting started. We'll see you in the next conversation.